successfully navigating a tech consultancy and the interview process. So there's a little bit of nuances in how to successfully walk through and be successful in a interview process with a consultancy. So I'm going to walk you through that today and give you some tips and tricks to hopefully land that dream job. So what I'm going to be talking about today is really just first understanding what exactly is a digital and tech consultancy. What are the differences between understanding what you're applying for and the differences between a consultancy and a product company. So just really understanding what is the best fit for you and navigating throughout those two types of organizations. I'm also going to walk through the competencies and attributes that we look for. So helping you to really prepare yourself for that interview process and being able to showcase what competencies and what attributes that you have to bring within the interview. And then I'll go into the more practical tips for nailing the interview process, as well as some new ones on how to land and successfully interview virtually. And then I'm going to try to leave some time for questions. But again, if we can't get to the question portion, I will leave my contact information here, and I would happily connect with you after the session's over as well. So just briefly, in terms of what exactly is a tech or digital consultancy, we really provide services that are developing and implementing technology for a business that's at growth. We help them to manage risk, reduce costs, or change in systems. So in terms of a tech consultancy, we're really focused on multiple clients and working with multiple clients to provide solutions that could be anywhere from front-end work to UX, UI, to very complex design systems and DevOps. So you can think of something similar to like a Deloitte consultancy. What the difference is between and when you start to apply an interview for a product versus consultancy is consultancies are really focused on providing a wide range of services to clients and specific solutions. Whereas if you're looking at a product company and applying to a product company, you're looking at applying for something that is particularly focused on one solution. So there's differences when you are interviewing for both those organizations. So what we look for in terms of the competencies and attributes in working with a consultancy, it really comes down to interpersonal and communication and collaboration being the most important. So in the interview process, you really want to focus on and discuss how you can both collaborate internally with your teams. So that's working with cross-functional teams, as well as collaborate really closely with your external stakeholders or your partners, which would be your clients. We're always looking for those who are continuously learning and curious. And so this is really important to showcase in the interview process, because really what it comes down to is being able to understand what the client needs and to be able to anticipate what those needs are moving forward. So being able to showcase that you're curious, you're constantly iterating, you're asking questions is something that's going to really benefit you in the interview process working and applying for a digital consultancy. That also goes hand in hand with being very client focused and the ability to showcase that you think about clients and you think about working with them and really, again, iterating on whatever solution that we're providing. And the last thing really in terms of the attributes is you want to be able to showcase that you're humble, you're resilient, and you're adaptable to change. So within a consultancy, what we look for is someone that's able to pivot and pivot really quickly. And so oftentimes we are working on multiple different partners with multiple different clients and stakeholders, and you want to be able to showcase that you thrive in that type of environment. And then you like to be moved on to different challenges and different responsibility. And of course, within a consultancy, no day is the same. In terms of the specific competencies that we look for, you want to have really an agile methodology process to you, or an agile or iterative mindset. You want to be focused on really research and understanding the market, again, to be able to pivot, to offer solutions to your clients and to be constantly iterating with them. The ability to showcase your thought processes and analysis is really important as well. And you want to be be able to really understand the market and be able to really speak on what you're seeing in terms of technology trends. So I'm going to walk you through tips for actually walking into the interview and preparing for the interview. So pre-interview is very crucial to ensuring that you've set up and you're set up for success in the interview. As Diana had mentioned previously, preparation is key. So you want to make sure that you're preparing yourself as well as doing some research on the organization. What I would recommend in the nuances of being really successful or for a consultancy are researching the organization's clients. Who have they worked with in the past? What type of projects are they currently working on? So that you can really speak to your experiences that are similar to what we are currently working on or what that consultancy is currently working on. How I recommend that you find and start to prepare yourself for this type of research is go onto the company's website. So this is where you'll find and be able to find case studies and white papers and information on what that consultancy has done in the past, what they've been able to implement for their clients, and some really good and positive stories that they're talking about so that you can learn how they negotiate and work with their clients, and you can prepare yourself for the interview. Prepare to speak about your technical competencies and as well as your experience that's relevant to the particular role. So you want to be able to ensure that you're talking about not just necessarily your technical competencies. So what do you bring with to the table? What tools and technologies have you used in the past that are relevant to that opportunity? What have you done in the past, and what projects have you done in the past that you can bring to the interview itself? You also want to ensure that you're documenting and being able to talk about what's relevant as well. So ensure that you really understand the job posting, understand the position, and be able to talk about your experiences that are relevant to that as well. In the interview themselves, you want to be able to clarify your selling points and the reasons that you want the job. So you want to be able to, again, ensure that you're talking specifically about what makes you unique and what makes you a great fit for that particular position. And you want to ensure, again, that you're talking about both your technical competencies, but being able to talk about those soft skills that you have and you can bring to the table that, again, are relevant to that consultancy. You want to ensure that you're speaking, again, on your technical qualifications, but how your skills align to the business's core competencies and their requirements. And again, the way that you prepare for that is to go onto the corporate site and really start to research what their values, their vision is, and to research the clients that they've worked with in the past and some of the projects that they've worked with in the past as well. What I would recommend is come in with energy and enthusiasm and express your appreciation for the interview's time, especially now within COVID where we're interviewing remotely. It's very important to really showcase and be excited because body language and those nuances of being in person are potentially a little bit lost. So come in and express enthusiasm and energy and your appreciation for the interviewer as well. Showcase any experience that you've had working with clients. So what I recommend here is to talk about what the project was, what the particular problem, the outcome, and your involvement. So if you've never worked in a consultancy in the past, what you want to do is you want to draw on and pull any cross-functional work that you've worked on in the past, or any internal clients or stakeholders that you've worked on. So talk about what that problem was, what the particular project, and of course your involvement and the outcomes. You want to remember the STAR method. So Diana alluded to this as well. It's really what the situation was, what the task at hand, what were the results? You'd want to be able to clarify and specifically talk on specifics as well. Okay. I'm going to talk a little bit about virtual interviewing and how to successfully navigate through virtual interviews as well. So now moving into COVID, we've moved completely into virtual and remote interviews. And the nuances are really important here to understand how to really navigate virtual interviews. So if you haven't already done it, Make sure that you're downloading the Zoom app, and you want to make sure that once you do, that you're accepting the interview invites. Don't leave recruiters hanging. I often do see at times when I send someone an invite, they don't necessarily accept it, and so I'm left wondering if they're going to attend the interview. So make sure that you have everything set up on your tools and your technology, and you're accepting the interview as well. What I would also recommend is you want to get a headshot. You want to also have a microphone and this or a headset, and this is going to reduce the background noise that may happen within the interview as well. So this is going to help to ensure that you're fully focused and there is no interruptions in the background too. Just like we did today, you want to test your audio and your video settings to make sure that they can hear you. There's been numerous times where we couldn't see the interviewer and the interviewee, so it's important to make sure that your technicals are working as well. You want to prepare for being on an interview call. So this is a little bit awkward at times because, again, we're not face-to-face with someone, but you want to ensure that you've turned on your video functionality is working as well. Interviewers want to see your face. Again, in the age where we can't have the nuances of body language, we want to make sure that we're at least connecting virtually, and we want to see your faces. Review how to share your screen to showcase your work. So this is really important for someone who may be interviewing for a business position, a sales position, someone in product development or management, as well as program directors. There may be an opportunity for you to showcase your work. So ensure that all of your settings and you are understanding of how to get your settings up and running to be able to share things on your screen as well, to showcase any documentation, any work, or any presentations that you have in your interview process as well. What's really important is to also check your internet connectivity. You want to ensure that, again, during your interview, if it's your final stage and you're meeting with the CEO or the COO, you don't want to, of course, have an interruption on your interview and your connectivity as well. Ensure that your environment, this is really important, ensure that your environment is tidy or set up for a professional background. I can share this deck with you moving forward that also has a link to help you set up a background. If you do have an environment that it doesn't necessarily or isn't quite conducive to being virtual. So I'm happy to share that with you moving forward. And you want to ensure that you are taking notes, you're engaged, you're positive, and you ask questions. You are interviewing the company as much as we're interviewing you, and so you want to ensure that you're really engaged in the interview process, you're taking down notes, and you're clarifying and asking questions to ensure that the organization is also a fit for you. So you want to make sure that you're asking questions about the company culture, getting a sense of how they work, of their methodology, of really what it's like to work there and what a day in the life is. So you really want to ensure that you're getting a good sense of that organization and how they're working as well. And overall, you just want to ensure that in a consultancy, the best practice is to always make sure that you're showcasing your value and showcasing that you're really excited and enthusiastic, not just to work with cross-functional teams internally, but also really excited to work with different clients. So again, on any given day at Wrangle, we could be working with clients that are within anywhere from the pharmaceutical to the healthcare to retailing organizations. So you want to be able to showcase your interest and your desire to work with different types of clients and different projects. So both that ability to have and showcase your soft skills as well as your holistic experience on the technical will win you positive marks within your interview process. So I've given us enough time at the end so that I could really answer any questions that you folks have. So I've just given about a couple minutes at the end here that I'm welcome to chat if you have any specific questions about digital consultancies, if you're interested in learning a bit more about the nuances of a product and consultancy, or anything in general. I'm going to give you a couple minutes here at the end for a Q&A. And then if not, what I'm happy to do is share my slides so that I know there was a lot of information thrown at you. I'm happy to share my slides and connect if you have any particular questions about interviewing or working at digital consultancies moving forward. So I'm just going to look over here in the chat session, and I'll give it a couple of minutes. And I know I'm coming up to just the end of our session here as well. Okay. So that's a great question. So what is the best way to network with recruiters in a digital consultancy? So great question, Samir. I think the best way is to connect and have questions, connect, I would say, on LinkedIn. But what you also want to do is be very targeted in how you're connecting as well, because oftentimes we do get a lot of emails and connection requests on LinkedIn. So you want to come with something interesting or speak to a particular position that you'd like to know more about, as opposed to generally trying to connect. Again, as I'm sure you've heard in other sessions, we're often bombarded with multiple emails coming in from multiple different social sites. And so connecting and wanting to speak and engage about a particular opportunity or a particular product that we're working for is the best way to connect. Digital consultancies often do have multiple different opportunities within clients. So again, the best tip is to be able to come and to be able to do a bit of research on that role and be able to understand what are some of the clients, and then connect with talking about some relevant experience that you have as well. But the best practice is talking and asking to speak about a particular role is the best way to connect with us as quickly as possible. Okay. So the question I have is, with pandemic affecting physical distancing, it also has affected networking activities. Can you share with us your best way of connecting with people in these conditions? Yeah, absolutely. So I think the best way to connect when we do have physical and social distancing is this way. So connecting virtually, connecting on channels like this one, connecting on Zoom. With Zoom, and I sound like I'm selling Zoom services right now, I'm really not, but with Zoom, they have connectivity and ways that you can chat and speak with multiple people. So not just in a formal interview one-on-one situation, but it has the capability of talking to multiple people at the same time. I think continuing to network on social media is really successful as well. And so really just getting out into these type of events too. So these virtual conferences, chatting with social media, and then of course, navigating through any platforms like Zoom with the capabilities of connecting with multiple people are some good steps to connecting and networking when you can't do it face-to-face. And so the last question I have here, I think where I'm just running to my time. Should I showcase my skills to the recruiter or wait for my profile to be selected by the hiring manager? Please highlight if there are any advantages of sharing technical expertise with the recruiting agency. Yes, absolutely. What I would recommend is not waiting. So when you are first applying, so to navigate through the recruitment process and especially applicant tracking systems, the best way to do that and to ensure that your resume does get up to the top of the pile is to showcase your technical experience and your competencies that are related to that role. Oftentimes when you are applying or when a recruiter is starting to pull out the applicants to bring into interviews, we look for those who have the most relevant technical skills and competencies that are relevant to that role in particular. So my recommendation is you always want to showcase and tailor your resume to that specific opportunity, because at that point, you'll ensure that, again, your resume is not getting lost in the pile of other resumes. You're tailoring your experience. And the likelihood of moving into an interview is then increased because you're showcasing those skills that are relevant to that role. Okay, and I think I'm up on time again. I will share my LinkedIn information here. If you have any other questions or would like to know a bit more about consultancies, about working or applying for consultancies or interviewing, I'm happy to chat and connect after this. But thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it.